Good evening, everyone. I'm Lissy Bastian. Thanks for staying with us. Opposition Deputy Leader Chester Cooper again chiding the government's 2019 fiscal strategy report tabled in the House of Assembly this past Wednesday. The Progressive Liberal Party deputy, in a press statement released yesterday, condemned the report as one of the bleakest statements on the government's fiscal position that the country has ever heard. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Peter Turnquest tabled the report in compliance with the Fiscal Responsibility Act and highlighted challenges the country will face in the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian when it comes to finances. Now, according to the report, the economy had anticipated growth by 1.7% in 2020. However, it is now projected to contract by 0.6% because of anticipated weakness in tourism in the first half of 2020, prompting the government's plan to borrow $507 million to meet the shortfall. Well, the opposition contends that the government's plan to borrow $507 million has resulted in a record level of borrowing, according to Mr. Cooper, who also says the finance minister's attempt to put a happy face on it failed miserably. Mr. Cooper further added that having borrowed well over $2 billion to date, the government now plans on borrowing another $500 million. The Exuma and Ragged Island MP opined that it is all the result of the FNM administration being too focused on managing deficits rather than improving the cost of living and fostering economic growth, adding that had the government focused on fostering a stronger economy, the impact of the monster storm would not have been so sharply felt on the economy. He further opined that the government's policies and mismanagement are likely to inflict pain on the Bahamian people. And while Mr. Cooper, as Shadow Minister of Finance, said the devastation of the storm and the impact on the government's revenue and expenditure cannot be denied, he stated that the fiscal strategy report is sorely lacking. He pointed out that the report is the first major test for the credibility of the Fiscal Responsibility Council. The DPM on Wednesday said a resolution for the borrowing will be tabled in 2 weeks, along with a supplementary budget to address the expenditures and revenue loss associated with Hurricane Dorian's passage. The Water and Sewage Management Union challenging the Minister of Labor, the Director of Labor, and Registrar of Trade Unions at the Supreme Court today. The dispute, the fact that the ministry set a date for nominations and supervising an election scheduled for the 22nd of November, contrary to the Industrial Relations Act and the union's constitution. Obie Ferguson QC represented the union, while the Ministry of Labor was represented by Gary Francis. Mr. Ferguson argued that the Director of Labor can only supervise nominations and election and has no power to schedule when they happen, as stated in the union's constitution. However, the union's constitution itself is causing confusion.
The two constitutions involved, there's one for 1997 and one for 1998. It seemed to be unclear. So that is one of the issues we're going to be discussing with the other side to see if we can determine what the issue is. But the Admirals Union nomination is supposed to be on the 25th of this month, and election 60 days after.
However, Mr. Francis stated, according to the Constitution, argued in court, the ministry has the right to set dates when the union fails to carry out its mandate. He charged the date should have been set back in August. However, the union never gave a date, forcing the Director of Labor to step. Mr. Ferguson claims that he did reach out to the Ministry of Labor to meet as to prevent the matter from going to court, but did not get a response. According to Mr. Ferguson, Justice Charles gave them this solution.
I think we're probably going to meet on Monday 25th, to see whether we can resolve it. We probably be able to resolve it. So, I mean, everybody wants to vote. I don't think that's an issue. The Constitution, that is critical. Unions must be made to follow their Constitution so the workers can get the benefit out of it. That's the issue. It's not a major issue, except that the Constitution is critical.
If the matter is still not resolved, the union and the Ministry of Labor will head back to court in December for the judge to preside over the matter. Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands is condemning anyone who seeks to change someone's opinion by threat or force. This following reports of death threats made against Marijuana Commission co-chair Bishop Simeon Hall over his stance on the decriminalization of marijuana. The health minister disclosing to reporters that there's a strong chance that recommendation for a change will be made once the commission's report is complete. While he says change is not a bad thing, what is a bad thing, he says, is persons trying to force others to change their views.
There's no progress there, and it's certainly not reflective of civil society. So I condemn anybody who believes that by threat of force they would change somebody's mind. I may not like what you say, but I will defend your right to say it.
The health minister called the whole situation unfortunate, adding that the Bahamas is a democratic nation which gives everyone the right to freely express their own opinions.
We have chosen to deal with these challenging issues and to have representative views put forward. The Marijuana Commission has been criticized for due process. They have taken on this task and they have sought to do it to the best of their ability. They are not rushing, they are being deliberate, they're being thorough, and I believe that their report will be representative of the views of Bahamians.
Dr. Sands maintains that he will not express his views on the issues until the report is brought to Cabinet. The Marijuana Commission had hoped to have its report completed by August. However, that didn't happen. As for when the report will be complete, the minister says soon. The Bahamas seeking re-election to the Group C board of the International Maritime Organization, IMO. Transport and Local Government Minister Renard Wells off to London tonight to attend the United Nations International Meeting. For the past 20 years, the Bahamas has been a part of the board elected by the 180 member countries.
This is the re-election phase, and all countries jockey during this upcoming week, and the nations then decide which countries they believe best can suit and carry their issues forward in the global arena. The Bahamas has always been a leader in the maritime industry, and we're looking forward to our partners, the other countries around the globe, partnering with us and voting for us again to be one of the 20 countries that are a part of the Group C board to help govern the IMO.
The IMO is the body tasked with managing all maritime affairs around the world. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.